As the title suggests, Story 1. Here are a few things that come to mind. Being a good boyfriend or husband is a skill. You can get better at it. A relationship is also like a car. You need to do regular maintenance, such as oil changes, for it to remain healthy. Sex is important. Sometimes you may not feel like it, but starting with kissing can lead to motivation. There's a saying in French that translates to, hunger comes by eating. It's the same for sex. Not every time will be the best experience of your life, but it's still necessary. When I say this to young people, they often get offended because it's not very romantic, but most men who have been in a relationship long enough know it. Story 2. Putting someone else first because you want to and it makes you happy to do so. To be fair, many people in relationships won't understand that either. Story 3. There is nothing more comforting than a contented silence shared with the person you love while you rest in each other's embrace. Partner who is your safe space is bliss. No matter what happens or where you are always at home because being with her is what makes someplace a home. And there's nothing more heartbreaking than if that all stops being true for you. Story 4. To simply answer yes and go along with scenarios like, would you still love me if I were a worm? Story 5. Realizing that sometimes all you need to do is be present and not offer solutions. The profound skill of being there without trying to fix everything, learned only in the trenches of a relationship. Story 6. A truly good relationship can make your whole life stronger, better, happier, and more prosperous than it ever could have been on your own. However, a bad relationship can derail your life, and it is very possible that it can materially alter your life trajectory for the worse in a way that you cannot fully recover from. A good wife is an uncommon treasure and should be sought after, but it's truly better to be single than to be in a bad relationship. There are things you have to compromise on in any relationship, but the character of the person you are with is not one of them. Story 7. Am I crazy? Or are half the things listed things that people without relationships can easily understand? Story 8. Being right doesn't mean you win the argument, and you don't have to do everything together. Let them have their own hobbies and girls' nights just like how you want to have your own activities. Story 9. Women think the shower plug just naturally gets blocked with hair. This never happened to me when I was single. My wife moves in and it's blocked every week. Story 10. Women can sometimes be incredibly harsh, especially to other women. I've heard and seen women behave in ways they criticize men for as being misogynistic, while exhibiting the same behavior themselves. Story 11. Even if she can cook, clean, and take care of the baby herself, you're supposed to be a team. She will be much happier if you're actually a good teammate. Story 12. How much hair women shed, periods, and the beautiful warmth and love that you can only get from a woman. Story 13. Sometimes, it's better to be happy than right. If being right must come before being happy, you're probably on a hill worth dying on. Story 14. 1. Men and women are two distinct individuals often led to believe they are the same and one is the problem. Love is not like a Disney movie where everything is perfect all the time. It's something you fall into and work to maintain. It will be challenging at times and easy at others. You will not always agree with each other, and that's okay. You don't have to leave if you disagree. Don't end marriages over arguments or disagreements. Compromise. Sex is a natural need. Some people require it. If you don't express how important it is to you, your partner won't know. It doesn't have to be awkward. If an open and honest conversation isn't had from the start, it may later seem like a sudden obsession. If you never said anything and your partner finds your adult content, it might appear as if you're hiding something. Talk frequently. Engage in hypotheticals. Discuss scenarios openly. Encourage honesty from both sides. Be philosophical. Women sometimes know their cycles, while others may not realize they can be tracked closely. The mother-daughter relationship often contributes to this understanding, though not always. If the mother considered sex and periods taboo, the daughter might have similar apprehensions or become hyper-aware. Don't let it be awkward. Track it for her to help with preparations. Do the little things. Write notes. Give them food before they ask. Take them thrifting randomly. Take the day off just for them. Prepare a charcuterie board. Buy them yoga pants and plants. Always flatter them. Acknowledge their makeup or perfume. Don't stress about initiating sex. Some women initiate, others don't. Make sure your needs are known and create an environment where requests can be made openly. Prioritize her pleasure. Make it a priority for her to feel special in bed. Use toys, vibrators, or anything she likes. If she enjoys specific books, read one of them and act it out. Treat her like a queen. 10. Be aware of her friends, especially those who might be a negative influence. Some friends may try to sabotage others out of unhappiness. Observe carefully before making judgments. Story 15. A good relationship is awesome, but peace, quiet, and personal time are also important. Also, building on that, boundaries. Story 16. It's not just about love. It's also about navigating daily challenges together, offering support, and growing as partners. Story 17. If your partner says everything is a problem, they are likely the problem. Get out and do it quickly. Don't get stuck. The I can fix her mentality is one of the most torturous, stressful, and life-draining processes anyone can sign up for. Don't do that to yourself. Also, clarifying between venting about feelings versus actually asking for advice based on feelings are two different things. There are those who don't want to solve problems but wallow in them and become a broken record. Their problems will eventually become your problems, and you can't fix them. Story 18. You can love her with all your heart, give her everything, and be there for her in every difficult aspect of life. She won't fall out of love with you for no reason at all, or because it's your turn to go through a difficult time and she can't bother to do for you what you did for her, even if it's as simple as being there. Story 19. Life's problems don't just go away when in a relationship, but it would be nice if everyone is in a good mood all the time, including you. Story 20. Actions speak louder than words. Sometimes doing everything right doesn't mean anything to the other person. Physical intimacy won't keep a relationship together. Communication is everything. Story 21. A woman in a relationship can make you feel like you're on top of the world, but she can also make you feel like you're the most worthless being in existence. Story 22. Premenstrual syndrome isn't a choice for her. Humor her and life will be more bearable. She will also be extremely grateful for that. Story 23. If she talks to you about a problem, she doesn't want a solution on how to fix it. She either wants you to listen to her feelings about it or wants you to agree with the solution she already found, even if you know that it won't work. Story 24. Your first trip to IKEA is a rite of passage for a relationship. In many relationships, this is the first time both of you have to truthfully and with consequences be clear about your respective ideas of what you want from the relationship. No more empty talk. Do we buy this furniture that implies we will be living together long-term or not? What do you mean we should not buy this item because we need to reserve that room for a child? Story 25. How often do women go to the doctor to keep their reproductive health in order? We just put our things wherever we feel and handle it from time to time, but we never think of taking it for a checkup. Story 26. Ever read the book, The Art of Loving by Eric Fromm? He gives an example of love. If there's a mother who says she loves her child but doesn't take care of it, do you believe she really loves it? In other words, love is not just an emotion. You reveal your love by your actions. Story 27. She's not shy, stupid, or demure. That's just her flexing and playing her best hand, especially with men. Your childhood female friend, her enemies, or your mom probably know her better than you ever will, unless you break up. Story 28. For me, you have to ensure that you make time for your woman. It's not just about ignoring her to see your friends, but also ensuring that you don't play video games while she sits there idle. To be clear, I'm not saying you can't spend time with your friends. However, there has to be a prioritization. Otherwise, you risk undermining your wife or girlfriend as your best friend. Story 29. True for everybody. If you want a happy relationship, don't plan to win more than 50% of your arguments. Story 30. Sometimes it's as simple as repeating back to her what she has just said, confirming that you are listening and solidifying her ideas. Story 31. How much compromise and sacrifice a healthy relationship requires, although it's definitely worth it. Story 32. That you can somehow be unkind to her in her dream, and when she wakes up, she will still be upset with you in real life. This happened to me with 3 different girls, so I know it's not an isolated incident. Apparently, I'm quite unkind in dreams. Story 33. That a threesome is a more realistically obtainable goal than getting a straight answer about where you should eat. Story 34. Nobody is going to love you unconditionally other than your mother. In other words, no woman is going to love you unless you're capable of providing her with financial support and a good time. Story 35. The amount of toilet paper used increases. When you think about it, it makes sense, but as a guy, we usually just use it to wipe ourselves, and that's it. Story 36. If they ever say, "You're the only person to love me right," it's often a red flag. Not all their exes can be awful people. It's not probable. Story 37. That women are all the same, and there aren't any exceptions. They don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them, no matter what they tell you. Story 38. Bill Burr has the best advice on how to hold your ground against your girl. It's life-changing stuff once you get it down. Always fight for your freedoms, boys. Your feelings are just as important as hers, and your voice deserves to be heard just as much as hers. Story 39. Living with someone truly reveals who a person is. Dating and then going back to your respective homes at the end of the night is different. Anxiety can set in when living with someone. It becomes apparent how much influence her friends and family have over her. When you find a woman who follows her own heart, keep her, my friends. Story 40. 24 hours is a long time in a day, and barely any of it belongs to you anymore. That is, if you actually care to nourish your relationship. Story 41. The part where you run out of things to talk about isn't the end of a relationship. It's just the end of infatuation. Start doing new things together, start watching shows together, do anything together. More importantly, don't take comfortable silence as boredom or contempt. Story 42. The bathroom rules. Every woman has her own little rules, and they need to be followed, or the earth will fall into the sun. The same goes for her purse. Unless specifically given permission or it is a real life and death situation, do not go in there. There are things in there that men are not meant to see or capable of understanding. Just a warning. I still have nightmares from when my mother told me to get something out of her purse 40 years ago. Story 43. I've never been in a relationship, only a couple of talking stages and one situationship. I can relate to all of these except sex being important, since I'm keeping it until marriage. Story 44. Do not read the comments. It is a waste of time. People are listing things most individuals know, even if they have never been in a relationship. Story 45. She tells younger people to vent, not to ask for your opinion or help. If her sentence doesn't start with, "Could you?" just be there, pay attention, and react. Story 46. Real love isn't leaving over every inconvenience. It's not a perfect fit, and you're not guaranteed love and respect all the time. It's proving you still care about them even if they do something that upsets you. Granted, there is such a thing as going too far, in which case a reevaluation or talk is necessary. If someone chooses to be with you, that's common. If someone chooses to stay with you, that's rare, and your partner deserves to be respected. Story 47. At the end of the day, women are just humans like us and have similar but different problems. They are not a unique or foreign type of human that you need to learn to interact with. You get better and more comfortable over time, but it's not much different from talking to anyone else. After you do it a few times, you start to feel that more and more. Then, years down the line, you talk to women like you would anyone else in your life. My advice is to stop making it a big deal in your head. Stop creating a narrative that women are different and that you need to learn rules, tricks, and techniques to woo them. I'd be lying if there weren't some general consistencies, but at the end of the day, every woman is a different person. What makes one woman interested may turn another woman away from you. Story 48. Find someone who will accept you completely, especially with your love language. Mine was physical touch and acts of service. In the first few years of my past relationship, Everything was good. Then, when it ended, she said she felt like I only wanted her for intimacy, like I only wanted sex. But to me, that's how I express my love and affection. Make sure you two are really compatible. It's very important. No one wants a broken heart after all. Story 49. Your partner's body will not stay the same throughout your relationship. Change is inevitable and you need to be okay with it. Story 50. Little things go a long way when trying to share a living space with someone. Be a little more clean, a little more on time, a little more communicative, a little more kind to yourself as well, and a little more tolerant. It's a skill you will have to work at, but just showing you're putting in effort goes a long way for people. Finding a balance between everyone's expectations of how you will live isn't hard, but it will take time. Story 51. One thing I found is that my partner's emotions and moods change throughout the month, and I have to consciously remind myself of that. As a guy, I've always felt like my emotions are in a constant, steady state by default, so it's been an adjustment learning to live with someone else's changing emotions. Story 52. Women aren't as nice as they superficially seem. They are nice only because it is a behavior with high utility for them. They are not actually nice people. Story 53. If you go to dinner with a woman and she says she is not hungry, you should order something for her anyway because she is likely not telling the truth and will take half of your plate in an instant. Story 54. That a female body is not something to be objectified. That females menstruate and breastfeed during their lifetime, and there is nothing unusual or sexual about these biological processes. Story 55. Some of the most impeccably dressed women are poor housekeepers. They don't have time to clean because they are staring at themselves in the mirror. Story 56. As a man, you may gradually give up your social life and identity. Relationships are more costly than expected. Women often enjoy certain things which are appealing but only for a while, like clothes and furniture. Initially, they may seem beautiful. Buy it, darling, or let's buy it together, they might say. However, in a few years, you'll find these items outdated. For instance, a friend with a wealthier partner changed everything in the house to white, claiming it looked beautiful. They often express desires like, we should do this and that. However, they may not understand the importance of spending money on good tires for your car or motorcycle. They might question why they are expensive, as they are just black, and ask why not choose a cheaper option, not realizing the value of quality brands like Brembo brakes. Consider these practical investments, even when they are not visible as they lie beneath the car. Buying a dog, a second car, or a third motorcycle might cross your mind. I am over 70 and have seen it all. Thank you. Story 57. For many women, vaginal penis penetration isn't enough for her to climax. Good oral sex is the key to giving her much pleasure in bed. Takes longer than a few minutes, but it is well worth the effort. Story 58. My wife and I are autistic, so we're pretty different from most people, but I find that many misunderstand infatuation for love, especially if they haven't been in a healthy relationship before. Real love is spending time with your best friend, putting them first, and enjoying their company. Infatuation is ignoring any beautiful flaws that make them human and placing them on a pedestal that dehumanizes them, which corrupts ethics and leads to a horrible relationship. Don't pursue someone you're infatuated with physically or emotionally. If you consider them a title that focuses purely on their positives, you cannot be in a healthy relationship with them. At best, you'll make them feel horrible. At worst, they'll feel horrible and take advantage of you in retaliation. Find a best friend who's so comfortable with you that you can be intimate without it being awkward. Someone you can insult, and they will laugh and respond in jest. Someone you can hang out with in complete silence and find it heartwarming. Someone you can hug tightly, and they won't let go until you do. There's your true love for life. Even if it's platonic, you found the love of a real relationship right there. You can always satisfy your sexual needs elsewhere as long as they understand that and you discuss it properly with your best friend first. This experience comes from 9 years of marriage and 14 years of living together since my wife and I were 17. Story 59. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus, metaphorically speaking. Women have a very different worldview than men do. This doesn't make women or men right or wrong. We're just different. Sometimes men who haven't been in a healthy and successful relationship tend to see women as inherently crazy, contentious, or ungrateful. However, when you develop the ability to navigate the difficulties present in even the healthiest of relationships, you begin to develop patience and understanding for the other perspective. You learn to translate Martian into Venusian and vice versa. It also bears mentioning that there are certain kinds of emotional trauma that men are more prone to and others that women are more prone to, which can further exacerbate the differences mentioned. Couples therapy is sometimes necessary. Such is the world we live in today, unfortunately. If you find somebody whose companionship is of particular value to you and who also happens to spark your emotions, you should still give serious thought to exploring that relationship and see where it leads. If you find yourself continually growing closer to that person, it's probably for the best to commit to an exclusive, long-term relationship with them and invest all that you are and will become into it. The kind of love we all require can only be acquired as a return on that investment. Story 60. Sex is a buildup of actions throughout the day. Think about what her mood is like leading up to your desired goal. Story 61. That women are different. This sounds stupid, but I know I didn't exactly get it until my first long-term serious relationship, not a high school one. Story 62. Women. To be fair, they won't understand women in a relationship either, but they really won't if they've never been in one. Story 63. Not the same because you don't need to be in a relationship, but it aligns with the premise of the question. Sex is honestly overrated. It's great with someone you love, but many people have concerns about feeling like a failure because they are virgins or similar issues. However, self-satisfaction is often better than bad sex. You need to experience it once to understand that sex is not some rite of passage that changes your entire life perspective. Part of growing up is realizing that sex for the sake of sex isn't worth it. Story 64. He isn't just a friend. Most people lie about their number of partners. Men often divide by 3 to 5, while women multiply by 3 to 5. Over 80% of women in a relationship or marriage have a backup guy ready. She's not your girl. It's just your turn. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.